A quick thought that I'm currently having while I'm on the train. There were some mornings, some days ago, when I would wake up with the same thought. So let's call it a download. That I would wake up and then the phrase that came to my mind immediately: "This all does not matter." And there are a lot of ways how this could be unfolded or elaborated. But for example, one of the ways, currently, no matter what city I am, I think I'm meeting different people, and it's a very different way of perceiving the reality when these people are locals and when I'm not. Because I have a feeling when you are somewhere long term, if you put yourself in the box, I can be only here, you take off the playfulness that can be while you are going through days and creating your experiences. Because I think there are really a lot of things that are people so attached to that actually in the big picture doesn't make sense. Whether it's work opportunities, certain people, certain connections, it can be more chill. And I think also zoom out. It's like a feeling, especially when you have a burnout or the state of depression, that a lot of people tend to run away from. But if you really even break the word down, depression means depressed. It's a consequence when you have been operating such a long time, not as an authentic version of yourself, that your psyche or your computer system of your body is bro, we don't have capacity anymore, and it dies. When it's a consequence of certain things that are misaligned being accumulated for a long time. And I think also generally life is very cyclic. It's not it's not every day is the same, even if people are trying their best to do it. Things when people are trying to predict the future based on the knowledge of the past, or when people are trying to predict certain things, how it will be in the future, relying on certain formulas, technical stuff, linear stuff, which is a product of nothing but logic. But logic works exactly as ChatGPT. It can be operated and ran based on the data that you put in it. So brain itself and the work of the brain, I do not say that it's not important. It can help a lot, definitely. But in a global view, it is quite limited. And that's why tuning in with your intuition is so important, and generally an ability to sense things. And if you also really dig deeper, we all as humans do have certain, let's call it metaphysical abilities, when you can see certain things, even if they're not maybe not seen by how to say it. When you can really see and you really tune in, you can start to see a lot of things that may be hidden by a public eye, but it doesn't mean that it does not exist. And same thing, there was I had to exit the train. So the moment when I stopped, this really reminds me vividly one situation I had a while ago. It was an evening, I was strolling, and I looked at the sky and there were a lot of stars. And the thing is, for now, currently, I know nothing about the stars, but even at night, when you look at the sky and there are no stars, it doesn't mean that the stars do not exist. You get what I mean? So the logic here is the same. And back to where I was leading. And I was leading that, when you having a routine is very important. It really helps your psyche to have this stability in terms of an ability to rely on yourself. But on the other hand, also for us to grow, it's also very important to encounter within you, whether you call it new experiences or new adventure or expansion of your mind. And I have a feeling a combination of both is very, very important. There are certain areas where you have to be more tuned in and tapped in into a mundane routine, because it's just a very building certain things. Sometimes certain moments when you absolutely unplug yourself from this mode, and you spend several days being in silence or meditating, or going to silence retreat, etc. Whatever that is, the thing that you do, those are kinds that are also very important, because that can help you to see beyond what you usually see when you're in a rush and when you're in a rut, and you're also able to see beyond of your limitations, even though like it's interesting because also like the nature of everything, it's like opposite things are intertwined. So when people like divide things, oh it's like white, oh it's black, everything is intertwined, everything. So yeah, to sum this up, because it was like a lot of different thoughts right now, I would say, understand, like if you imagine, let's say you have a look at your phone. I'm not sure how Android works. I will do it using iPhones as an example. When you go into a photo gallery, there are options for you whether to zoom in or to zoom out. And when you zoom out, you kind of like see all the pictures and videos taken during a certain amount of time, and it can be just like literally a lot of squares on your screen. And it's also so important to be able to zoom out your life, because there's always much more to life than the narrative that you put yourself in or you think is possible. And because, for example, I think different people, let's say, wake up at different time. It's always a process. For somebody, for example, COVID was like very eye-opening. For somebody, let's say 2022 when the war happened, I was very eye-opening. For somebody, an eye-opening was like 2014 when the war started, was eye-opening. The context of like 2014 right now and 2022 that I'm mentioning, I would say like not for not for the whole globe, because mostly people who were like involved in that were like people in Russia and Ukraine, and like so basically when you're like in the epicenter of events, they kind of reflect on it more. But I'm sure that maybe even people who, for example, lived or live in other countries, people whose eyes caught that attention, maybe that also could have facilitated a certain, thinking process that could have led them to somewhere. But long story short, back to what I've been saying, still talking. Back to zoom in, zoom out. When you look at your life, it's so important for you to have moments of silence, because in silence you can see and you can tune into certain things that you're not able to see through when you are in the middle of chaos and noise, which life can be full of, especially when you live in cities. When you live in islands, it can be a bit different, but still I would say there are like two types of noises. The outer, it's like when you go out to like the outside world and like the noises around, but also there's an inner noise, a noise in your mind. So like again, it's like a work and a combination of like both of these layers. An ability to zoom in your life, because for example, yes, somebody right now, like I'm saying right now from my context, but they right now like in European Union, in Asia, in post-Slavic countries, in Africa, in Latin America, in how it's called, like North American continent. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I gotta check it out. But yeah, like no matter where you are, no matter what your circumstances are or experiences you're dealing with or things you're going through, the thing is, when you rewire your mind, the reality that it can lead you to in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years, the difference can be enormous. And it also very depends on where you are, what you're doing, what you're up to. But just know that the outer reality is very flexible. Once you understand how to navigate and control your own mind, you also understand, if you learn also, how to navigate the outer space, because you can have an impact on that too.